Math 115. I just want to do a quick video for what I was going to do in class yesterday. No one was able to make it, so it'll just be on here. So if you're watching it on here, you are not behind anybody. Alright, so I just wanted to do a couple of constructions using a compass. Now, as I said in my email before class, what you could have used also are 2 pencils and a paper clip. Okay, so let's just see how this works. Remind ourselves. So a compass has one side that's kind of pointy, just holds it in place, and the other side is a pencil, and it opens. Now we could open it to a certain size. They're inches on one side on this one and centimeters on the other. So if we want a certain distance, we're not going to worry about that too much today. But you put the pointed part down, and then the pencil side can make a circle. Okay, so this pointed part is your center of your circle, and this distance, which shows how far apart the pencil and the middle are, think about what that is going to be. That's going to be your radius, right? So again, here's my fixed point. The pencil is drawing all of the points that are a certain distance from that point, makes a circle. So you can do the same thing if you don't have a compass at home. I would like you to try these constructions. You can use 2 pencils and a paper clip. Preferably a little bit bigger paper clip kind of works. So I have this pencil not with a lead knot out. So this can be my center. And then if I put the pencil in the other side of the paper clip and go around, that's going to, be my circle. You have to kind of keep this tight, right? So if I start this again here, you have to keep it pulled tight without letting it fall. It's probably a little easier if you are actually on a table and not trying to do it on the wall like I am. Okay, but you can see that it would still work. Alright, so we're going to do 2 constructions today. So the first one we're going to do, we're going to start out with a line. So I'm going to have 2 points, A and B. Okay, I don't know how well you can see this. I'll try to do it with a marker. How's that? So point A and point B. Can you see that better? And then I'm just going to use a straight edge, just this piece of paper in this case, to draw the line between them. Okay. So the first construction I'm going to do is called a perpendicular bisector of a line. Okay, so perpendicular means it's going to be perpendicular, making a 90-degree angle, and a bisector means it cuts it in half. So what I want to do now, so here's my line. I could say, well, half looks like about here, but I don't exactly know. And if I try to draw a line there, who knows if it's really perpendicular, if I have it a little bit tilted. So my compass is going to help me do this. So what we do is we put the end, the pointy part, the center, on one of the points. We want to open up the compass. It doesn't matter exactly how far open it is, but we need to have it more than halfway across this line. So I can open it to here, let's say, because I can see that this is clearly more than halfway down that line. So if you're going to use a pencil and paper clips, just make sure that your line is short enough so that the end of this paper clip goes more than halfway across it. So I open this to whatever point I want. I put this point in on the end point of the line, and I draw my arc. Okay. Now it's generally good to kind of hold it up here. We don't want to hold it here because we don't want to make it close as we're using it. So hopefully you can see. I'll make this, kind of go over this too, but you can just going to trace over this so you can see it. So here's my arc. Okay, then I do the same thing from the other side. Leave your compass the same distance open. Or if you're using the paper clip, you're going to use the same paper clip, obviously. So now I go to B. Now, obviously, it's going to be more than halfway here also. So I put my point on B, and then I draw my arc this way. Okay, you do not have to draw the entire circle. Okay, you just have to do this part of the circle, and we'll see in a minute what part we definitely need. Okay, so this is what I've drawn so far. I put my end of my compass here, I made an arc here, and I made an arc here. You might notice already what we're looking for. We are looking for the 2 points where those 2 arcs cross. And if I connect those with a straight edge, that's going to be my perpendicular bisector. How do we know that it cuts it in half? Well, if you think to what I have with these 2 arcs here, think about when we talked about those situations where we had like a boat here and a boat here, and we were trying to figure out where the whale was, right? Or we were talking about the satellites, the GPS. So I'm just going to freehand this since I can't really use my compass over here. But remember we said, let's say we want to know, we know something is a certain distance from this boat, and we know it's a certain distance from this boat, and we want to know where that could be, where that treasure could be, right? Now in this case, they didn't have to be the same distance, but these 2 points were the points where we were a certain distance from A and a certain distance from B. Now in this case, we want these 2 points to be the same distance from A and B, right? That's why we use the same radius here. So we're taking a certain radius, we're using the same radius, so that means this point is equal distant from A and B, and so is this point, and if we connect those, we get that. The reason you want your compass open more than halfway is because think about what our other options were when we talked about this. We said, let's say A and B are 20 miles apart, and I say I want all the spots that are 5 miles from A and 5 miles from B. Well, they can't have anything in common because they're too far away. So if I had made circles that were too small, they wouldn't connect and I wouldn't get that. If our circle happened to be exactly, if the radius of our circle ended up being exactly halfway, then they would connect at that 1 point, right? So that's why. So the other interesting thing here is if we take A and B and these 2 intersection points and we connect all 4 of those, so there, here, and here. Okay, so these 4 lines right there, that gives us a rhombus, okay? Let's think about when we talked about shapes, what a rhombus is. A rhombus has all 4 sides the same. It does not necessarily have 4 right angles. That would make it a square, sort of like a tilted square. But the other thing about a rhombus is it's perpendicular. Always, the bisectors, the diagonals is what I'm trying to say. The diagonals are always perpendicular, okay? But how do we know this is a rhombus? Well, this point is by definition the same distance from here and here. And this point is the same distance from here and here. These sides all have to be the same. Okay, so that makes a rhombus when you do that. So you know how to bisect a line, and you know how to, then you know that the sides there then give you a rhombus. Okay, so let me now leave that one there. Let me get me some more tape for this page. And we're going to do one more construction. Okay, so again, if you don't have a compass at home, that's fine, but use that paper clip and pencil method to try these on your own. Okay, the next, so this is a perpendicular bisector of a line. We're going to draw now an angle bisector. So we're going to cut an angle in half. So you can go ahead and just draw any angle you want. I'm just going to use these points here to be part of my line. So does not matter what it looks like. So make an angle. Okay, now we are again going to put our the center part of our compass here on this vertex where the two rays of the angle come together. And then we draw an arc that goes through both rays of the angle. Okay, now we're going to put the edge of this on where that intersection is, and we're going to draw an arc here without changing it. And then we do the same thing here. And now, so let me just trace what I did. First, I did an arc right here. And then I put the point of my compass here. Made an arc up here, put that point here. This is all the same radius. I'm going to take this intersection point and connect it back to this vertex. Straight edge isn't quite long enough, but we'll make do here. And this line right here now bisects this angle. It cuts it in half, so this side is exactly the same as that side. Okay, so I'd like you to try those at home one way or another. And that was what we were doing in class this week. Go ahead and make sure you read your to-do list really carefully. It lists what else you're doing in class, out of class this week. You're doing watching a video, and then writing a reaction paper to it. And this week is also giving you a little time to catch up if you need to catch up on any other assignments. All right, thanks guys.